Hello everyone, I'm KL and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be working with clay and I have a really cute idea in mind that I want to sculpt. I'm thinking of making it Harajuku themed, specifically Harajuku decora. I don't exactly have a concept for today, I'm just gonna kind of make it up as I go along. But in my head, I know that I want it to be a samoyed. I'm really excited to see where my creativity goes. I hope you enjoy the video. So let's get to crafting. Today I'm going to be working with air dry clay. It's really satisfying to play with it. It's kind of like slime. I'm going to be using foil as the base so I can use less clay and that way it also dries quicker. Alright, I'm just shaping a ball for the head and seeing how big it is, if it looks good enough or not, and I'll go in and add more if I really need to. So far so good. I'm not going to attach them very firmly because if I need to move the clay, then I can just do that without being restricted by the actual base. Okay, and onto the clay, just kind of molding it wherever I need it to go. For me, it's easier to carve out and see where the shape is inside of the clay than to just try and add it from the get-go. I'm also going to be using a wet brush to do a lot of the sculpting because it makes it easier. And if there's anywhere I feel like doesn't have any clay, I'll just add it in afterwards, and then I'm using the brush to smooth that out. It is really useful. I kind of wasn't even planning to use this brush, to be honest, but wow, it's working out so well. I'm also using silicone brushes. This is going to help me maneuver the clay. It's just really easy to make all the tiny details that I wouldn't really be able to do with my fingers. Look how crusty my hands are. I do not like having dry hands. It makes me so uncomfortable. After I get the general shape right, I'll put some water in my hands and just smooth everything out. Okay, so like I said, I don't really have a concept for what I'm making, but I know that I want to make a samoyed. I want to cover it in so many decorations like stickers, clips, and face charms. So much smoothing, so much blending. And in my head, I honestly did want to quit so many times, but I just kept telling myself, you know, see it to the end. I really had to do so much convincing. I was ready to just make a completely different video for this week, but this really was a trust the process, and I trusted myself. Yay! And my hands are clean again, just had to take a quick break. I just have this little peach cream next to me while I do this very, very dry project. And back to getting my hands messy with more and more smoothing, adding a few more details to the face like the little eyebrows and just making the cheeks a little bit more puffy because I really want it to look like the samoyed smile. I so sweet and super chubby, and I really wanted that to come through on this piece. I was thinking of making a placement for where the smile will sit, but I wasn't really happy with it because it made the chin look kind of chunky. I feel like I was running on hopes and dreams at this point. I don't know, I just thought the face looked really creepy, but obviously it's going to because I don't have the paint on or anything. I think I'm just overthinking it. And now I'm starting to add the fluff. Gotta get that super samoyed fluff in. What is a samoyed without its fur? Just a sam or a moyed. I made the ears a little too big, so I just cut them in half, and that looks so much better. I am going to be drowning this clay in water because I need this fur to look perfect and super blendy. On the glass, I was making a slip next to it to really get the right fur texture I'm going for. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad so far. This is when I started getting hope again because I was actually really surprised that it was working out. With enough blending and molding, it actually turned out really, really good. And the neck is starting to look like it actually has fur on it. Yay! Back at the cheeks again, I decided to make the fluff more cone-shaped than triangles so it doesn't stick out like spikes too much. And it'll just blend in with the face a little bit more. Please don't hate me, I don't really work with air dry clay. This is my first time using it in ages. This is a lot better than I thought it was gonna turn out, to be honest. And a lot of this is just so much carving, blending, and smoothing out all of this fluff. Now I'm just gonna be moving on to the feet. I don't really have anywhere for the feet to sit snug, so I'm just going to remove some of the thighs so that I can add little feetsies. Don't mind me just taking a quick break to wipe everything down because, this poor gloss that I'm working on. Alright, so I just made a bowl for the feet, and I'm just gonna half it so they're both the same size, and they fit perfectly. Just using my needle tool to do whatever I'm doing. What am I doing? Okay, so the feet are added, and now moving on to the front paws. I had an issue with the front paws. They were a little bit dry. I should have added more water to them, so it was actually quite hard to carve out and sculpt that properly. But it's fine. It looks cute like that. Alright, and now this tail. I tried my best to make it work, but it is not as coily as a samoyed tail, so I decided to just rip this from her poor body. And now I'm gonna add a proper coily tail. I wanted it to still be attached to the body as well, so it doesn't fall away from the piece or break off, because I love samoyeds and I do not want anything to happen to this piece. I will protect it at all costs. I'm just adding in more support with some wet clay. Just adding my signature at the bottom. I felt like it needed a heart because that's how much I love this piece. I give it a little heart. Here is the final sculpture. I'm actually so proud of how it turned out so far. She does have a few cracks, but I'll just fix that in a minute. And I'm also just gonna use a little nail file to go around and sand her. I would use sandpaper, but this piece is really small to get into all those little crevices. So I'm just gonna go around and file that all up. And I also use a paintbrush to dust off anything so that it doesn't get in the final piece. Now I'm just gonna go in with some ahuhu. I'm just gonna call it ahuhu to fill up all of the cracks. I will say this wasn't the brightest move. However, I was slightly panicking in this moment. I was like, did I ruin this piece forever? I didn't, thankfully, but I was close because if I didn't have something to smooth out this glue that pretty much dried instantly, then it would have looked really choppy and bad. And ta-da! After sanding her and filling in all the cracks, she is finally ready for paint. This is the part that I'm super excited for because samoyeds are just fully white, so I'm going to smother this thing in white paint. Did I use primer or gesso? No, I just went straight in with acrylic paint onto the clay. And after the 10,000 coats, this is where we are. Now, I just want to add some super rosy pink cheeks because I want this samoyed to be blushing to really lean into the Harajuku theme. And I also wanted to paint her tail pink to make her more unique. That took a lot of blending to make an ombre from the white to the pink, but it was worth it in the end. And finally on to painting the eyes and the nose and the mouth. I'm just going to be using a basic brown color because I wanted its eyes to look really samoyed-esque, how they have those really dark eyes that you can just get lost in. No, I got some on the cheek, but it's okay. We have a technique to get rid of that. You just add a ton of water, but it only works if the paint underneath it is completely dry. Then I just have to add more layers to really make it super saturated. And now onto the other eye. Ugh, my hands are so shaky, and of course I choose the smallest and tiniest finicky craft to do. So of course I have no choice but to just power through this with my shaky hands. And for the mouth, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Oh gosh, I painted it really uneven. I ended up making it a little bit of an open mouth smile, you know, just to give it a bit more personality. Now I'm adding shinies to the eyes. I have to go in with my signature hearts. And I'm adding little toe beans now. I'm just doing little lines, keeping it super simple. And I'm also just gonna fill in my signature. Don't mind the lines underneath, that was me resting it on an oven tray so the bottom could also dry quickly. And this is where we are. Oh, she is so cute. I love her so much. I also just quickly made some accessories off camera. I made a star, 2 hearts, dango, a bunny, and a hair clip. Now I'm just gonna be painting them. They're so finicky to paint because they are so tiny. The bunny and the star hair clip are my favorite. I just painted them on my fingers so it was easier to hold them. I was a little intimidated to paint all of these because they're so tiny, but it actually went pretty quickly because I'm just doing simple little colors on them. I'm gonna be adding a little face to the bunny as well, just to give it more personality. Now I just have to wait for them to dry and then I can glue them onto the samoyed. It was very hard to put these on the face, so I kind of just would have to pick her up and bring her face to the little charms. And if I do place them wrong, I can just quickly go back and adjust them and press them down and they hold. And done adding all of the pins and the hair clips. I'm also going to be adding some stickers to the face and the body because I want to cover her in stickers to really go for that Harajuku decor part. But you also can't really add that many other accessories to an animal besides pins and stickers. I had to use a needle tool to pick up the stickers because it was quite hard to get them off. Now onto the last step, I'm just gonna glaze it. I thinned it out with water so that it's really runny and it settles into all of those crevices and smooths everything out a lot easier. I did have to put the samoyed on this clear plastic so it didn't get stuck to the paper. And here's the final result. What do you think of her? I'm so happy with how it turned out. Really fits the theme of what I was going for with the Harajuku. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!